The Indian myna is a bird that originated in India, where it is referred to as the farmer's friend, as it ate insects ruining crop plants. As Australia began to have an issue with insects destroying crops, they sought after a cure and introduced Indian mynas. When introduced to Australia in 1862, the Indian myna dramatically decreased the amount of insects found in Melbourne's market gardens, as stated in the Sydney Morning Herald article, Pushing Myna Birds, a Major Nest Pest, by Smith in 2012. Upon entry to Australia, the Indian myna began competing with Australian species for food, nesting sites, and territories. Before the introduction of the Indian myna, native Australian bird species were high in abundance, including the sulphur-crested cockatoo, crimson rosella, and laughing kookaburra. The Indian myna also greatly competes with the native noisy myna, driving them out of some environments. As the Indian myna is most commonly found in areas with high presence of humans, the noisy myna is limited to small, more natural environments. The noisy myna is also an aggressive bird and competes with other birds similarly to the Indian myna. This causes controversy as individuals do not understand why so much hatred is aimed towards Indian mynas, but not at noisy mynas. The reason for this is even though both species are aggressive, the introduced Indian myna has significantly less predators in Australia than the noisy myna does, and hence cannot be naturally controlled. When the Indian myna enters breeding season, their aggression escalates. The Indian myna is often responsible for the destruction of other birds' nests, as it destroys eggs and kills chicks in order to make its own nest, reiterating the need for the management of the species. Young birds chirp, calling for food from their mother. During this time, the mother's aggression is also increased. When Indian mynas were first introduced to Australia, they ate insects as hoped. However, since then, their diet has changed to now include human-made foods. Indian mynas are becoming more commonly found near shopping centres, due to the high level of waste and scraps left behind by humans. Indian mynas have been known to enter shopping centres, as well as hang around near the entrance of shopping centres. They have become more acclimatised to the presence of humans, resulting in a decreased flight zone. The flight zone is the area around the animal that, when crossed, will cause the animal to become alert and flee. As seen in the video, the Indian myna is not bothered by the humans passing by, but rather continues to seek and eat food before flying away. Fast food restaurants like McDonald's also attract Indian mynas due to the high level of waste left behind by humans. People no longer scare them, and neither do cars. They become so accustomed to the presence of humans, they have almost become a part of the scenery. Indian myna numbers are increasing dramatically due to no natural threats in Australia. The current population of Indian mynas could continue to grow this drastically if no management strategies are put into place. The blue areas are where Indian mynas are native, whilst red areas are places where the Indian myna was introduced. Indian mynas have also become established in South Africa, Fiji, and New Caledonia. Indian mynas have also been introduced to New Zealand, where they have had the same issues with the pest species. Indian mynas have been noted to swoop at humans, especially during the reproductive seasons in both Australia and New Zealand. In New Zealand, Indian mynas decrease production rates as they feed on grains and crops. Indian mynas are now found almost everywhere in Australia and are joining society in more ways than one. As the abundance of Indian mynas continues to increase, as shown in the graph, it is important that management strategies are put into place. What can you do? Individuals can remove waste to discourage the presence of Indian mynas, and ensuring pet food is not left in the open after feeding the animal also reduces the likelihood of the presence of Indian mynas. Utilizing traps can also help reduce the abundance of Indian mynas, in particular the use of the Indian myna traps called PGs. This trap consists of a cage with a funnel-type opening, allowing the Indian myna to enter the cage, but prevents it from exiting. Indian mynas, however, are capable of learning, and hence can learn how to exit the trap if not assembled properly, or if they observe how another bird deals with the problem. They may also learn to stay away from such traps. Once Indian mynas are trapped, they must be euthanized correctly and humanely. Individuals must be familiar with welfare protocol regarding trap management to ensure the birds are not subject to harsh conditions. Traps must be checked morning and night, and native birds must be released. Hello, Mr. Greg White. Not that long ago, you managed to save a few birds from being attacked from myna birds. Can you tell us about it?
This young crow was squared into a tight area by Indian mynas. It was unable to free itself. After shooting the Indian mynas away, I knew I had to help it out quickly and reduce its stress. I placed a towel over the harrowong, allowing me to hold the bird and observe its injuries. Not too long ago, I saved a baby magpie that was being attacked by several myna birds as well. When attacking animals larger than themselves, they form a group to acquire more power and become very aggressive. After these birds were in good health, are released them back to the wild.
These aggressive pests need to be stopped.
I never thought that we'd throw it all away. This ain't a love song, this is goodbye. This ain't a love song, this is goodbye. I've been lost, I've been out, I've been losing. I've been tired, I'm all hurt and confusion. I've been mad, I'm the kind of man that I'm not. And though I'm dead,